Good morning, everyone, and Shabbat Shalom. We begin this Shabbat. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the million-dollar question is, why did God create this world? And the answer of Judaism is quite surprising. You know why God made this world? To give us pleasure. That's right. God made this world to give us pleasure. Just take a look at what happens when God makes the world. He places man in the Garden of Eden, Gan Eden. What does the word Eden in Hebrew mean? The word Eden in Hebrew means pleasure. God put us in the garden of pleasure. Now, if you ask someone, what's the first commandment God gave Adam and Eve? Everyone says, well, he told them not to eat from the tree of knowledge. But that's not the first commandment. Read the Torah portion tomorrow morning in the synagogue, and I hope you'll come for the first Shabbat of the year to begin the Torah anew. The first thing God says is He puts them in the Garden of Eden, and He says, Mikol eitz hagan achol tochal. From all the trees of the garden, eat shall you eat. That's the first commandment. The second commandment is, however, do not eat from the tree of knowledge. In other words, the very first commandment that God gives man is, eat from every tree. Enjoy all the pleasures of the world, of the Garden of Eden, of pleasure that I made. This whole world is a Garden of Eden. Indeed, the Talmud says when a person dies and they come to heaven, if they walk by a fruit tree and didn't partake of the fruit, God will ask them, why didn't you stop to enjoy the beautiful fruit that I made for you when you walked by that tree? It doesn't only pertain to a tree, it pertains to every pleasure. Why didn't you go see the beautiful mountains that I created in Switzerland? Why didn't you go to see the beautiful oceans in Florida? Why didn't you enjoy all the pleasures? However, God says, if you just lead a hedonistic life without any boundaries, without any limits, then God forbid, the pleasures of life will start to control you, and it could even lead to addictions. And therefore, while you should eat from every tree, have limits. Know which trees you shall not eat from. Follow my commandments. What's the second thing God does when He creates man? He says, it's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helpmate, a spouse. And that is love, the gift of love, friendship, soulmate. Again, looking to give man the pleasure of love. And finally, the third thing God does on the sixth day of creation says, and now keep the day of Shabbat. Make sure that you work, but do not become a slave to your work. Realize that you need to have work balance. You need to have a day of rest, of tranquility, of peace, a day to have a relationship with God. And these are the three most fundamental pleasures of life. The pleasures of the garden, the fruits, the physical enjoyments of life that God wants us to enjoy. That's why God made not only so many different types of trees and fruit, but so many different types of vegetables, such a variety of foods to us to enjoy. But it's not just food, it's all the pleasures of life God wants us to enjoy. Then He created love for us to enjoy loving relationships, marriage. And then He gave us Shabbat, a day of spiritual pleasure, of delight and tranquility and connection to God. But in all of these realms, God says, yes, enjoy the pleasures of life, but don't let them control you or overtake you. Yes, enjoy loving marriages, but realize that men and women are different, and there's pleasure not just in receiving, but in giving to the other, in making compromises, in making sacrifices. There's pleasure in that too. And that's why God made Adam and Eve, man and woman, different. One is male, one is female. So they have to learn to give to one another. And then comes Shabbat. God says, yes, enjoy working and accomplishing great things in this world. There's great pleasure in success and building and being creative and achieving things. There's a great feeling when you accomplish something by working hard, but know how to restrain that drive. Don't become a workaholic. Realize there's higher spiritual pursuits in life. Shabbat, tranquility, connection to God, prayer, faith, relationship with your family. Not just focus on work and just earning more money, because yes, there's pleasure in that, but there's the ultimate pleasure of spirituality and love. Tell a story about a couple who were married and had a beautiful marriage. And he liked the top part of the chicken and she liked the dark meat, the bottom. And whenever they had chicken, he took the white meat, she took the dark meet. Well, on the 50th wedding anniversary, they got to talk and they discovered that really he likes the dark meat, the leg, and she likes the white meat. But he was under the impression that she liked the dark meat, so he said he likes the white meat. And she really likes the white meat, but was under the impression that he likes the white meat. So she would always say, no, I like the dark meat. Now you could look at that marriage and say, what a shame. For 50 years, they were giving up the part of the chicken that they liked most. And it was in vain, because they could have each enjoyed what they liked. She could have had the white meat that she enjoyed, and he could have had the dark meat. But the truth is that by giving up for one another, making that daily sacrifice, they gained something much more than an enjoyable piece of chicken. They gained a relationship based on understanding that it's not just about getting the pleasures in life that you want for yourself, but it's about doing and giving and sacrificing for others. So God says, by all means, enjoy the beautiful world I created, but realize that the ultimate pleasure sometimes in life is not by getting and receiving, but by giving and sacrificing for others, whether it's our family, whether it's our friends, or whether it's complete strangers. These are the gifts of the pleasures of life. Shabbat Shalom.